done nothing about, and the numbers bear that out. And to meet with Corey and Leo and Maxi, the face of the housing crisis, people who want to buy a home to raise their family and just can't, is a good reminder of why we need to get the policy settings right. So today, to add to everything you already know that a Dutton government would deliver for home buyers in this country and to address the housing crisis, we're pleased to make changes to policy that will enable more houses to be built in this country. At the moment, there are tens of thousands of housing lots held up by federal environmental approvals right across this country, and they are taking years and years to assess. On average, under the Environment Protection, Biodiversity Conservation Act, the EPBC Act, it takes more than 5 years to get a housing development approved. At the moment, there are 113 of these developments across the country. In Victoria, there are 25 alone, and 10,000 houses held up in Canberra because of green tape. We would, if elected, direct the federal department in partnership with Investment Australia to finalise assessments of these developments within 12 months of the election. And if the project's been under assessment for more than a year already, then we'd have that done within 6 months. There is no good reason why a government should take as long as it does, 5+ years, to assess at a federal level projects for housing developments that have, chances are, been through state and local environmental and planning and cultural heritage approvals. But we're in a housing crisis, and this government is happy to sit on its hands and let bureaucrats in Canberra to continue to do what they do and hold up these much needed houses. As I say, this will unlock tens of thousands of houses across the country, helping families like the ones we've just met, and really do something to deal with the supply issues we face in our housing.
Jono, very well done. Firstly, it's fantastic to be here today. Thank you to Manny, who's doing a great job knocking on doors and meeting with local constituents, talking about the issues which are important to them, which of course is home affordability. Housing is a huge issue in our country, and I want to say thank you very much to Maxi and Corey and Leo as well for being here today. Their story is typical of many Australian families. Young families just started to look at housing. They're in rental accommodation at the moment. They don't believe that they can own a home, and they've given up on the dream of home ownership under this government. And what we intend to do is to restore that dream of home ownership. We can do it through good economic management, but we can do it through our positive plan to make home ownership a reality. We are going to bring on 500,000 new homes through our $5 billion fund, and as Jono just pointed out, the Tanya Plibersek model at the moment is just to stifle every development application in the country. That's why she's at odds with the Prime Minister, and it's why there is a supply problem for housing under this government. So we're going to increase supply. We're also going to make sure, as we said on the weekend and repeated this policy again, allow young Australians to access their super so that they can get the deposit together. We're going to stop foreigners from purchasing homes for a 2-year period so that young Australians don't have to compete in that market with foreigners who are cashed up. I also want to make sure that we can help young Australians achieve their dream through our tax deductibility policy, which we announced at the weekend. Now, this is a game changer for young families, and the reason it is when you go to the bank under our policy, which allows you to deduct the interest for the first $650,000 of the mortgage, that means that you are more likely to get the loan, and it means that you have greater means to service the loan. As Jono pointed out, the Prime Minister promised at the last election that mortgages would be lower, that electricity costs would be lower. It's just not the case, and many families are really struggling. Here in Ashton at the moment, the bulk billing rate is down by 10% under this government. It's in free fall, and it's in free fall because the Prime Minister wants to pretend that people can just go to the doctors, flash their Medicare card, and somehow they're not going to have to pay an out-of-pocket fee. Well, that's just not the reality of families here in Melbourne and right across the country. And I think people are seeing through this Prime Minister and the promises that he's made, and I want to make sure we can get our country back on track again. Happy to take some questions, and then we'll
Mr. Dutton, did you